Aloha, and welcome to today's episode of Mystimon Saga, The Hidden Archives. We have pretty much a full group today. We have Kia, who's back finally. Welcome back. And we have Jackie, who's playing Evelyn today. And Bifrost. And
hello.
We have a new character joining us today. Cyber's new character, Frederick Rick Flintstone, I think it was. Yeah, Flintstone. So, yeah. Cyber, how about you introduce Rick for us?
Oh, you're gonna make me do that?
Yes, please.
I suppose it's fair. So, Rick is a member of the Magi Guard, sent to observe the Wayfinder Society, due to concerns about them being involved and potentially the cause of some or all of the incidents that have taken place recently.
Particularly concerned with the hidden archives, I would say.
Yes.
So Rick has been with us on the ranch for a few days now. Is that right?
Yeah. He's been observing and light questioning some of the other people and goings-on here. He's been introduced to the party characters, but hasn't actually joined in.
And he's also been introduced to Kuai and Eira. Kuai catches you as a cheerful girl with... A cheerful girl who lives life and loves life. And Eira catches you as someone who's experienced trauma, and that trauma sticks with her.
Well, everyone has their own scars to bear, I suppose.
Yes, indeed. And you've also noticed Kuai and Eira's relationship. And as an Ihana, you don't see anything wrong with that. You don't even really think much of it.
Not entirely true. It doesn't bother me personally, but as a member of the Magi Guard, I have on multiple occasions already sternly reminded them that in this particular region of the world, that is frowned upon.
Yeah, but in Zalamba, and where you currently are, the laws are different. Tell me, does Rick recognize the sovereignty of Zalamba?
I guess that would depend on whether Zalamba has its own Magi Guard headquarters or not.
Currently not yet.
Okay. Then it's probably simply a misstep of being from the Almanin headquarters.
Alright. So, Frederick, Rick, Kia, Bifrost and Evelyn.
Just Rick is fine.
Just Rick. So, you have all been having a good time, just living out your days on Fox Hollow Ranch and dealing with some of the most bizarre phenomenon you've ever encountered. Kuai and Eira have taken up they've taken up living in Homestead 2, which is a perfectly intact building or a small house towards the southeast, and about southeast from the ruined homestead, where you've encountered some strange stuff. And since they've been living off there over in Homestead 2, they've been doing pretty well on their own. Kuai's growing a small garden around Homestead 2 there, growing some vegetables and herbs and stuff. And you see them around the main house once in a while. And you've been also seeing some strange lights in the sky again. Some really strange lights. And let's see, you could make me an Arcana check. As the night before, just last night, you saw this big white light moving in the sky, and with your naked eye even, you could see that there was like a black center in the middle of it. So you can make me an Arcana check to see if you could determine if maybe it's an astronomical phenomenon or something. You could also make a Mythos check.
Oh, that's already on my sheet.
Yeah.
But without the untrained improvisation bonus.
Bifrost.
Which you should be able to add.
Bifrost
I'm
doesn't
here.
know.
Not at all.
Frederick knows something. Kia?
Was it Arcana?
Arcana or Mythos? Mythos is a new skill that we have.
Oh, well, I don't have it, so...
It should be on your sheet.
Oh, no, it's on my sheet, but I don't have it.
Okay.
You're not trained in it or
Yeah.
It's not
anything.
trained in it, okay. And Evelyn? Arcana or Mythos?
That'll be on our.
25. So, Rick and Evelyn. And Rick, you're going to need to make a stress save. And Evelyn's going to need to make a stress save too, as you realize that does not match any stars that you know. It is not a star. It is not a planet. It is something else entirely.
Out of curiosity, since it matters, is stress a will save against a fear effect? Or is it separate?
It is separate.
Okay.
It is a mental effect, but it is separate from fear. And you both gain 1 stress.
Alright, I'm gonna try to cast Empty Inside to counteract that. I can just cast it and counteract a mental effect by spending a focus point.
I can see neither of you are trained in Mythos, but you can roll Mythos checks untrained, and of course Evelyn went with Arcana.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to counteract that with another will save by using Empty Inside.
Empty Inside. What is that?
I can try to counteract a mental effect affecting me using the same DC that it was before, and it costs a focus point.
And that is a fail. So you have a point of stress. Rick has a point of stress as he realizes there's something alien about that. And Bifrost, what do you think?
Well, if they're anything like the lights we've seen before, Bifrost is generally feeling kind of anxious about the possibility of being controlled again. Bifrost is not going to say anything about it out loud.
Yeah.
Bifrost will continue to do household chores and just spend a lot of time away from the windows, and also just narrating things as it goes along to the people that are around, like, oh, look at this, it's so fine that this is on the table, and
Yeah.
I very much appreciate having you here, and like talking to everything.
Yeah. So, over the last month or so, the goblins have been working on another invention of theirs. They invented a radio. It's not actually a new invention. There are radios in this world. They just built one. And it's been tuned into a station in Kalroon for a good while. And during this event, while this light is moving in the sky, Bifrost, you suddenly notice that the radio's cut out, and it starts emitting this strange sound that sounds a little bit staticky, but also you hear these little ping sounds over the static. And
Do they make a pattern?
what?
Do they seem to fit a pattern of some sort?
Yeah. It seems to have some sort of pattern to it.
Fascinating.
So,
How long has this been going on?
it goes on for a good 10-15 minutes, and then once the light disappears...
Oh wait, I was gonna say, while it's going on, Bifrost is gonna try and like find a notation, create some type of guide to sort of keep track of what the pattern appears to be.
Okay, so go ahead and do that.
So Bifrost will attempt to. Are they of different lengths?
Yeah,
Or just,
it does seem sort of like communicative.
Okay, so Bifrost will note tones and then periods of usage and then periods of pause, etc., to try and come up with some type of way to approximate it when it fades.
All right.
And that will keep them very busy.
Yeah, and Kia, what do you make of this?
Not really sure, to be honest. I don't think Kia's had much experience with radios and the like. Living in sort of the middle of nowhere.
Just a really bizarre occurrence, yet another bizarre occurrence here on Foxhole Ranch. And once that light disappears, the radio goes back to normal. So, just another strange occurrence to add to the list.
Fascinating.
Seems to be.
So, the next day, you get contacted by Crystal. And Crystal says, I am going to be heading your way here in about 5 minutes. I have something important to discuss with you. Do you tell her at all about this strange occurrence the previous night?
Bifrost wouldn't. Who's answering the phone? The comstone, though.
That's a good question. That's up to you guys.
Well, it certainly isn't me.
Kia is not good with people.
Kia's not good with
-1 on charisma.
Bifrost will
Do I need to tell you
happily.
anything else?
Yeah, Bifrost happily answers the phone and proceeds to chat for quite a while about all sorts of things, but not the strange event in the sky. Talk about the goblins. I'll talk about the girls and how proud I am, and how things have been very busy here, and how it's so wonderful just to see the ranch flourishing. And
The new Magi Guard observer that's been hanging out recently.
And Crystal goes, wait, what?
yes, oh no, they've been here for quite a while. Actually, quite friendly. Asks lots of questions. I cannot believe it's been nice to have the opportunity to just talk
Crystal
and talk.
Crystal face
And
palms
talk.
and shakes her head. Yet another of Stormbreak's tricks, I see.
No, this is a real person.
Thank you for confirming that.
What does that imply?
I'm certain that it's not an illusion. Wait, I'm going to go over and I'm going to look at Frederick while on the comstone and say, may I have your hand for a second?
I see no reason to object.
So I take Frederick's hand and I touch it, and it seems very real to me. No, if this was an illusion, it is a very fantastic illusion. You're not an illusion, are you?
Not the last time I checked. Is this something I should be checking?
Have you been concerned about that?
No.
Crystal says that's not what I meant.
That would be a very fascinating pathology, to be afraid that one was an illusion. No, you're fine, I believe. Through empirical observation, it appears that Frederick is in fact a real person. This is wonderful.
Bifrost and Rick both can have a story point. And Kia and Evelyn, what are you making of this as you were watching this scene?
Evelyn is just like, I mean, considering what I've seen, like, just thinking to herself, considering that what I've seen, it could be an illusion. Anything could, but doesn't mean it's likely.
Everyone starts to think about the nature of illusory people.
And Kia?
Because I'm not actually sure Kia would be there. As I was basically one of the things I would think of she's been working on kind of around the ranch is basically like setting up snares around like the perimeter, just in case things like just like
Right.
warning snares and flare
Right.
snares and the like. Yeah.
Right.
So she probably spends a lot of her time kind of out in like the perimeter of the ranch and sort of area around.
Brilliant.
Alright. So Crystal at this point is shaking her head and face palming. I'll be over there in a few minutes.
Excellent, excellent. I will tell Frederick to anticipate you then.
I mean, I'm right here. I can hear this conversation now that you're here.
But I want you to understand that she is a non-illusory person too. I have met her many times. She is real.
All right.
I'm happy you're so perspective about that kind of thing, I guess.
I look forward to meeting you, Crystal.
Oh, they have already disconnected. The stone only works for so long. Do you have one of your own?
Crystal is hung up at this point.
Not personally, but some of my supervisors have one.
That makes sense, but how would you communicate? I will, and I take my comm stone and I hand it to Frederick. If you need to speak with him, I am always happy to let you speak through my comm stone.
Duly noted, and I return the comm stone to Bifrost.
You can speak with them now if you wish. Unless they are illusory.
They're not illusory. They're as real as I am. I'm quite sure.
Empirically, that does appear to be true. I'm sure. Bifrost is now wondering how many people that they have met that are in fact illusory.
Wow.
It is intense. This is worth some consideration. There's also notation going into my book.
Oh god.
Was Niven illusory?
No. I do not believe that I was created by an illusion.
That would have been a very impressive illusion.
Yeah.
Agreed. I suspect at that point you could not use the term illusion. A fictional being, perhaps. Can one create something that is both fictional and real? I shall put it in prayer. I am sure that my creator will have many interesting things to share with me about this. It is a wonderful question. Crystal has so many fascinating ideas.
Okay, Kia and Evelyn can have a story point too. It's like, what the hell? Rick notes down, Wayfinder Society has at least one deep philosopher on staff. So anyway,
if your loved one is an illusion, you may be entitled to financial compensation.
Oh no!
That is the next level of catfishing. Oh yeah, no, that's well done.
That sounds like something Xulgoth might try.
It's like the Truman Show, only much worse.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like something Xulgoth might try. Anyways, Crystal arrives, and as she comes in, she's is shaking her head at Bifrost. What in the hell? You went off on a tangent.
No. Your question, it was worthy of consideration. I would never ignore something you're proposing.
Evelyn seems to be thinking, and says, no, yeah, it really is.
And I would think many things of the Pharaoh, but I would not consider him a master illusionist. But this does put into question many things we have seen around him.
Yeah, Evelyn, you're probably thinking to yourself, you know one person who would do these sorts of illusions and has done it on a number of occasions. And it's not Stormbreak, it's Xulgoth.
Yeah.
So anyways, Crystal sits down, still shaking her head at Bifrost, but moves on. And she says, I have just gotten a tip that, Evelyn, you may find interesting.
Besides,
I have just learned that there is some alert going on at the museum because it would appear someone tipped off the museum that Xulgoth will be there tonight to steal something. I'm not sure what, but the fact that Xulgoth could be there tonight at the museum, that raises some concern.
and do not assume that I'm a suspect, right?
I have never assumed that you were a suspect.
Is this the museum that we first found a specific statuette at?
Yes.
Bifrost places one hand upon its stomach, rather, very thoughtfully. So it would be a trip to the museum then today.
It would appear so. I would like you to stake out the museum, keep hidden, and watch for any suspicious movements.
There's no possibility that Xulgoth is going there simply to explore culture and history.
Most likely.
That is disappointing. That is not the appropriate use of a museum.
Yes.
A person like him doesn't deserve such luxury anyways.
Well, it's also a concern of mine that perhaps he intends on looking for and stealing something that may have significance to the Black Aegis.
Could I...
I'm asking as well. Do we know this term from somewhere before? I know what it means.
Yes,
out of
you know the term. And Evelyn, you were going to say something?
Could I try to figure out what that is?
Sure, you can make an occultism or mythos check.
Occultism.
So, you've heard of this Black Aegis, but you're not entirely sure what it is yourself.
Oh, I was actually looking to figure out what it is they could be looking for in the museum instead of
So Rick also rolled a Mythos check.
Nice. That's a nice.
Yeah, that's a nice roll.
A nice roll with a lousy bonus. It's only one higher than you.
Yeah. So, first of all, Evelyn, your occultism check. You're trying to see what in the museum could have some kind of connection to the Black Ages, or why Xulgoth might have it there. Correct?
Yeah, I'm looking for what could be in the museum that he'd be looking for that's related to the Black Ages. and if that requires a different check, that's alright.
So you believe that there are a number of items or artifacts currently housed in the museum that in your opinion could have a connection to otherworldly things. And Rick, you also believe that you've heard that some of the items housed in the museum have a connection to the void. But whether that has any connection to the Black Ages, you're not sure. Because, like I said, neither of you are sure what the Black Ages is.
I mean, I feel like as a study of the martial art, I would assume that the Aegis is some sort of shield.
Yeah, that's
Whether
your
I'm
assumption.
right or not is a different story entirely.
Yeah, that's your assumption, but you're not entirely sure. You can't be sure.
Well, I could try another method of figuring this out, but it's not something I can do frequently. Consulting the spirits is always an option, is it not?
Yes.
I mean, she's asking that kind of thing.
We could ask at the museum too if you feel that would be more useful.
Possibly.
That's not to counter your idea, just to say.
Of course.
And Kia, what do you think?
I just wonder what exactly it is you are looking for us to do with this information. Or you want us to look for something, find something out?
I just want you to stake out the museum, look for anything suspicious, watch out for anything suspicious, watch out for Xulgoth. If he makes a move on the museum, I want you to stop him by any means necessary.
Okay, and who or what is Xulgoth? I don't think I've ever been...
No, Kia is not familiar with that one. Xulgoth is an opponent that we have come into contact with. A cultist who has been around for a substantial period of time and has had many different guises, but who heads an organization that he calls the Cult of Cthulhu, which intends to see the destruction of the world as we know it, which unfortunately is not a very good goal.
It's the one I used to be a part of.
Indeed, but it has often been my contention that there are many ways to achieve a goal, and not everyone's goal involves destroying the world.
I'd argue the vanishing minority of people's goal is to destroy the world.
There is wisdom in that. I mean, Evelyn, you came to join us. Clearly, that was no longer an interest for you.
Somewhat. It was also due to frustration with him. And the way he'd always act recklessly, I suppose. It was a flaw that I've noticed more and more with time, and it drove me away, both from the cult and eventually, I suppose, from the cause.
I would hope that you do not get frustrated with us and would not speak of it. If we are doing erratic things, we would like to keep you, with us, and it's wise to have other insight.
Oh, don't worry. None of you are nearly as complicated as them.
Complicated. That's one term to use for him.
Bifrost pauses for quite a while. Unfortunately, Bifrost's face has no expressions, so one cannot see the many emotions traveling through its being.
So, do you happen to have a picture or description of this guy? Just in case it's helpful if I'm supposed to keep keeping an eye out for him, knowing who I'm looking for.
That's where I can come in. I've read some of the less classified reports. He's become rather fond of a top hat. Other than that, he's just generally creepy. Hard to get a solid description. He doesn't tend to stick around.
And do trust me, he does not tend to be subtle.
He is a performer, desires attention, often attempts to expound upon the futility of any action to oppose him. Carries sharp knives.
Carry sharp knives.
That last part seems somewhat reasonable, at least.
Well, it was my personal observation.
Of course.
They were very sharp.
If I could interject for a moment. Crystal.
Sure.
How exactly did you come to possess this information of Xulgoth wanting to take this Black Aegis?
So, we came upon this information about this Black Aegis from an investigation some time ago. In fact, these investigators here, or rather, Tarek and Casey. Tarek and Casey and a couple of others came upon this information about the Black Aegis.
That was in the session with the Necklace of Fireballs, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
Alright, thank you.
This was I've had a question. Do we have any sort of jurisdiction authority or like the permission of the museum to be sort of snooping about and trying to protect them, or do they not know anything about what's going on?
Yes, actually, I got permission from the museum. They want you to protect their artifacts.
Are the same people in charge or part of the staff as we previously engaged, or have they changed some staffing?
There's been some changes.
I am relieved. There was one person there who was very judgmental.
Okay. Are they going to be a problem, or is it like the receptionist is a bit iffy?
The receptionist was a secret cultist.
Oh,
I
yeah.
wouldn't know about that.
Did any odds that there's any more secret cultists on the staff?
Oh, I would imagine there were probably a number. Hopefully, most of them have been removed since our previous engagement there.
With Xulgoth's dealings, I wouldn't doubt that there are secret cultists all over the place.
If you like a physical description, if you like a physical reference for him, actually, give me just 1 minute. Here, and there you go. And she gives you a paper that looks. Let me see what it looks like in the hidden archives. It looks like this.
Oh dear.
A quick scribbling, huh?
And she has a completely straight face ending of it.
It seems to have the key details. Angry man with a knife top hat.
Yes. Sometimes theatrical clothing. But that's presumed in the stick figure.
Did you need this back, or can I keep this?
Oh, you can keep it. I'm fine.
Do the cultists do the cultists make our lives easy and like wear anything in particular, like any sort of identifiers or the like?
Well, I believe that would be assumed under the word secret.
Yes. We have not seen any symbols or like badges or pins or the like that seem consistent. But we should keep our eyes out for anything that is a sign of unusual or occult knowledge.
I actually may have something that can help with that. She grabs she takes out a pendant that she was wearing behind her clothing, and it very clearly looks like a religious symbol of some sort. This is a religious symbol, specifically one of Cthulhu. It may not be likely that people will be wearing it in the open, but if you see any,
Probably.
this is what they look like.
Frost is taking out his journal and is attempting to copy the image that Frederick is holding. And Crystal says, with that, I have one last thing to say, and then I will get out of your hair. I have received special permission from the Pharaoh for Kuai and Eira to accompany you on this one, even though it is going into Kalrun. The Pharaoh believes that he has made some headway, and so the restriction of Kuai and Eira being banned from Kalrun is take caution, but he believes he's made some headway, so they can go into the city.
Do forgive me, but I am unsure of whether that'd be a safe decision. For them, at least. Considering past missions, he's been known to target them somewhat.
They are guardians, though.
Yes.
And besides, perhaps being in the same group as a Magi Guard might put the public at ease.
Yeah, Rick, make me an Arcana check. Okay.
One Arcana check.
Rick, you've heard of this term, guardians, but you're not entirely sure what it is.
I'll just note that down for the time being.
Do I notice the confusion?
Perception check. Against his
I'm not
DC.
trying to hide it, but I'm simply just noting this term down.
33. Yeah, you notice the confusion. Most
Well,
definitely.
Simply put, guardians are what they say in the name. They act as guardians of, well, specific things related to their person and often elements, sometimes more specific things.
Guardians are said to protect the balance. The natural balance of the world.
And most importantly, they use that to, well, protect the balance inside the world.
Thank you for that clarification.
Should there be a real concern, it will become clear what that means. It is not something to be concerned about, but to be grateful for.
Indeed. And, Kia, do you have any more questions?
Nothing springs to mind.
Okay.
I will happily fill you in on anything else, and should we spot Xulgoth, take caution, but be aware that Xulgoth often wishes to speak about their trying for successes. They're less likely to just act immediately without some type of preface. I gather this is different than previous incarnations.
And remember to not let him scare you despite his best efforts. She sighs a bit, he's a bit more stupid than you would imagine.
Good to know.
I wonder if that's Evelyn's personal opinion or.
He had a kaiju and he still lost.
Fair enough. But how do you know that wasn't part of his plan?
His plan was to feed us a kaiju.
Because I was in on it.
How do you know you were receiving all of the information?
At that point, he's just hindering himself.
Well,
If his
again,
plan was this convoluted, maybe he's stupider than he thinks he is. Your long play can only be so long.
Are you heading directly back to the Wayfinder Society?
Yes.
May I walk you back to the teleportal location?
Sure.
Excellent. If you will all excuse me.
Is there something you want to discuss?
Very much indeed.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to wait though until I am not around Kia or Evelyn or Frederick.
Okay. So, you get outside, and Rick is rolling an Arcana check for some reason.
I will have it in chat in a sec.
Yep.
So you get outside because the teleporter is in the barn.
Yes.
Keep it hidden from the Bitors.
So yeah, once we are far enough from the house, Bifrost is going to turn to Crystal and say, I am concerned about bringing the statue back to the museum.
I can see why you would be concerned about that, especially with Xulgoth apparently planning on being there.
It would not surprise me if, in fact, Xulgoth's actions may be multifaceted, and perhaps Xulgoth wishes to draw us in order to reacquire this. And Bifrost pats his stomach, wherein there is a hole, wherein there is a bag of Nakos that also contains a wrapped up statue of Thoth. I would not wish to bring this to the museum again and put it within his reach. However, none of my current companions are necessarily ready to bear the burden of this. Is there some place where we can keep this out of hands that may have ill purposes for it?
You could hand it to me. I could take it in. I could take it into the hidden archives at the tower.
Is there a place like my bag that may place this statue outside of easily accessible space?
You could have Kyrene take it to the Ocean Kingdoms.
I suppose that may be an option. My thought had been, while it's in my bag, it's technically not here. It doesn't truly exist on this plane, correct?
I'm not entirely sure about the real machinations of those things.
Indeed, but so far, anyone who would wish to misuse it has not been able to detect that. I would prefer to place it somewhere well out of reach of the cult, even if Xulgoth is the only member at the moment that we're truly certain of, with the defection of both Evelyn and Luna. I am gravely concerned about the misuse of this object in specific.
On that subject, I have actually had a conversation with Eira's mother, Luna. She's an interesting woman.
Indeed, I have hopes, although I know that Eira will not be comfortable with her for quite some time. I have hopes that perhaps she too, like Evelyn, may find other more positive avenues for pursuing the needs that they seem driven by.
Don't we all have our own personal needs that drive us? I hope one day Eira could have a real relationship with her mother, but I understand that she's not ready at this time.
No, I do not believe that she would be willing to accept overtures. The status of her father is of grave concern.
Yeah, we discussed that at length.
So, do I then give this to you here? That would not cause problems if someone was searching? Would that point anyone directly towards the ranch, or should I wait until we approach, until we
Well-
come to Kalrun ourselves?
Well, you have two choices. I could house it in the hidden archives in the basement of the tower, or you could house it here at the ranch.
I will make sure to deposit it here before we leave. I will leave a message for those to find it, should I need someone to retrieve it.
Okay. Whatever you feel is best.
I am hoping that the strangeness of our location here is sufficient to mask this object.
I guess that's one use for this strange phenomenon on this ranch.
Indeed. I have some ideas as to where I will place it. Okay. So I will return back to the ranch and help people make plans towards coming to Kalrun later on in the day, and then when everything is certain and we know what we're doing, I'm going to take a quick detour and spend about an hour on the ranch placing the statue of Thoth into a hidden location.
Okay.
I will DM you that.
Alright. Any other artifacts you're leaving there?
No, I don't feel that the other artifacts. If I'm correct, we turned over the pyramid puzzle, right?
I believe you still have that.
Oh, I thought they didn't want us to keep that one. That one's not safe inside the bag, correct?
Probably.
I mean, again, that's one of those whole.
Considering it contains its own pocket dimension.
Yeah, we don't put pocket dimensions in pocket dimensions. So yeah, no, I think we're going to be delivering that one to the Wayfinder Society. That's one they need to lock away, especially since we can't do anything until somebody figures out the actual puzzle pyramid that's in the King's Valley, I think.
Possibly.
Okay. So, yes, I'm going to go hide the statue of Thoth, and then yes, when we get to Kalrun through the teleportal, I'm going to be passing off the puzzle box to Crystal. Yeah, no, I've been walking around with that puzzle box this whole time. That's crazy.
Oh, dear.
Hey, did you notice my puzzle box that holds a kaiju? This is really interesting. Perhaps one of the most destructive kaijus in the world. Would you like to see?
Really fun party trick.
It could break at any moment. Who knows? Yeah, no, that's not a good idea. Okay.
Yeah, not a good idea.
When he comes out, we're gonna put my fancy cursed scarf on it, just so we can hear the kaiju sing, Christmas carols.
Oh my gods.
That would be bad. Okay, no. So I'll send you a DM on that, and we'll drop off the other one there. So I'm taking two things out of my inventory for the first time in forever.
Yeah.
Oh, when I get back in, I'll ask Frederick how he feels about Nakos. You may have noticed we have very many of them.
I had noticed.
Yes, they are quite prolific, but there always seem to be more.
How does Kia feel about them?
No strong feelings.
The Nakos are basically house cats.
We have too many on the ranch. They are all over the place.
Yeah, they're basically house cats. So, no strong feelings about house cats?
Not really.
I mean, other than their inherent adorableness, no, I have no particular...
Inherent adorableness. Yes, they are so adorable.
It is a byproduct of a storage method that we have here, so please do understand.
What way to put it? So, anyways, you do all that, and you. Any preparations, Kia, Evelyn, and Rick?
So, I've got a brief question on the topic of gear before we
Sure.
head out. So I picked up as part of my starting loot a moonlit chain shirt, which is light armor and only protects a few things. Can I pay the difference in cost to upgrade it to a moonlit chain mail, which includes other parts of chainmail?
Sure, that's something you can do in the city in Kalrun.
Okay. Then I intend to do that. Either retroactively or right now. GM's choice.
Okay. You can do that right now. You can go ahead, go to the city, do whatever you need to, and then meet up with the party at the museum.
Alright. I will do such things.
And I am going to switch over our mini-map to the city of Kalrun. So Rick, you head off into the market district. You use the teleportal and end up at the Wayfinder Grand Hall, and that is in the housing district on the eastern side of the city. And you head off.
I definitely know it exists.
And now you head off from there to the market district.
And after a bit of finagling and talking with Crystal, Bifrost will be freshly without a puzzle pyramid as well. Wow, that feels weird to let go of that one.
I can imagine. So, where did the teleportal take me initially? I'm noting this down for my report.
To the Wayfinder Grand Hall in the housing district on the eastern side of the city. And I am going to post the link to the map. Wrong place. Here it goes.
So, just for everyone's knowledge, of note, I am still bearing on me inappropriate hidden one location, a box with an evil dagger, the strange puzzle key, the Primal Witch's journal, all 3 books of Xulgoth's mentor's journal.
All the Mythos tomes.
Oh, am I carrying those 2 now?
That's
they were handed to you by Felix. The 2 tomes that were not in Tarek's custody. Tarek should have one of those.
Yes. So the other 2 were given to Bifrost. Oh wow. Yeah, so they will be kept. I'm going to add those in then. Which 2 did Bifrost get?
I don't remember.
And seeing as Bifrost has never actually read them, do I still get the penalty for carrying them in the bag?
You're not invested in them, so you don't get the penalty for them.
No, I don't really care about them too deeply. That's true, I'm sorry.
Nothing to be ashamed of. Felix's sheet is already missing the tomes.
Yeah.
So I don't know which 2 they were.
Not 100% sure where they went. I'm going to check another character.
Understood. I will hold on to both of those, though, in the bag of Nakos.
Yeah, I found them. I found them. I'm going to go ahead and move them into your sheet.
Thank you. Excellent. I will place all of those into the bag of holding. Excellent.
By the way, I feel like I should point out, since not everybody has looked at my inventory and I forgot to mention it, I am wearing chainmail, which makes clinking noises as I walk. So you guys are all aware I tend to keep my chainmail on and handy.
Okay.
Additionally, I have a brass badge prominently displayed on my chainmail that people may easily recognize as a diplomat's badge.
Okay.
So you can cry diplomatic immunity if we have any problems.
I suppose.
It's more for smoothing things out with people that might cause issues.
That is always the excuse that is used. I appreciate that. Beyond that, I will also point out that Bifrost doesn't wear any clothing, but does wear armor.
And I'm sorry, Evelyn, you were saying something?
Yeah, Evelyn looks to Bifrost and scratching her head, she says, "You know, there's one thing that I was actually thinking about since we got the details on this mission, which was how exactly, or rather, who exactly could have sent that tip about, you know, Xulgoth potentially being in the past? Who would have that sort of insight?"
Xulgoth might. Or, perhaps Cain.
But
Who knows?
I am extremely hesitant that this is a trap.
So,
Yes, there is reason to believe that, and my desire was to make certain that that there would be less of a reason for us to be a part of Xulgoth's preparations. I anticipate that Xulgoth expects us, so we need to be wise.
Perhaps this could be a distraction. That's always a possibility.
That is true too. I mean, I suppose in a sad way, I sort of hope that is true.
I suppose.
It would be unfortunate if Xulgoth were to want us there for reasons that further his cause.
I suppose. Well, we've proven that it's nothing we cannot deal with.
The benefit is that neither Frederick nor Kia have been seen by Xulgoth, and so unless Xulgoth can somehow sense the haunt, perhaps this means that they will be more protected.
Or Coco the Skull, which, Frederick, you had a bit of a... by the way, you had a bit of an encounter with Coco the Skull, as he was being chased around the house by one of your living mates there. He was being chased around the house with a cloak and a scythe. He's wearing one of Kuai's dresses. And he's like, leave me alone! Leave me alone! I don't want to wear that! It's creepy!
We didn't bring Coco, did we?
No. Coco's still
but it's
the...
something that needs to go in my report.
Something that needs to go in his report. They have a skull at the ranch. So anyways, you eventually all meet up at the Almanen Museum of Antiquity in the Colosseum district on the western side of the city. And make me perception checks as you look at just flash glances at Kuai and Eira as they're walking into the museum.
I notice everything.
Yes, you do.
As a Magi Guard should.
Yes. Bifrost doesn't notice.
Nope, I am looking elsewhere.
Kia, perception check.
Otherwise, might have actually went.
25. So, Rick, Evelyn, and Kia, you notice that Kuai appears tired. She has bags and dark circles under her eyes. And she looks a little bit cranky. Not her usual energetic self. And then, as they're going off in a different part of the museum, as you are all spreading out across the museum, trying to make sure that you look out for Xulgoth, you could all make me another perception check.
That is what I was looking for.
I notice a few less things.
Yeah, just a few less things.
Actually, hang on.
Okay.
Let's do this again.
You
That
got
die was
nothing.
canted. I feel so cheated. Lies. This computer program lies.
Kia doesn't notice anything, and Rick's kind of distracted too. But Evelyn and Bifrost, you suddenly notice that you suddenly hear over here that apparently something Eira says sets Kuai off, and the two start arguing. And at one point, Kuai, you overhear Kuai saying, "Where is this even going?" And storms off. And Eira comes up to you, Bifrost, and she looks exasperated and she says she seems a little cranky today. I don't think she's been sleeping well.
It is good that you are concerned. Sometimes there are many things that are going on, and I suspect that understanding and patience may be most important here.
If rest is required, then that is understandable. It could be even more dangerous going into a potential battlefield with not a full grasp on yourself and not being too well vested.
Indeed.
It could be more dangerous to you and, well, to others around you even. If rest is necessary, then she can take as much time as you need.
And Kia and Frederick, what are you two doing?
Probably we're focusing on why we're here. Like, does there seem to be, I suppose, be looking for any sort of staff that we could sort of talk to about the
No,
museum?
they have closed up the museum. You're here alone.
Okay, then Kia's basically looking for candidates for what is the Black Aegis.
Okay.
I want to analyze the door and see if it could be open. Like, is the museum like just closed? Like, or can we just enter even though there's no one inside?
You're inside. You're inside,
Let's
and
go.
the museum is closed. You have the keys and everything.
Good.
You were just asked to make sure you close up the museum when you leave. Make sure you lock everything up. And Rick,
Indeed, we will.
I will be watching Evelyn.
Rick is watching Evelyn for some reason.
What is being watched? I mean, not the most unreasonable thing I've heard.
Yeah. And make me perception checks as a couple of hours pass. Eira's been just hanging out with Bifrost the entire time.
I'm gonna consult the spirits on this area. Consult the spirits is essentially just a very big perception check using occultism.
Okay.
Normally with a bit of a higher DC, but essentially they never mind, doesn't matter because I probably failed. But essentially, on a success, they can answer one question about anything within 100 feet of.
Okay. And Kia and Bifrost? Perception checks?
Indeed.
A critical
Nice.
success from Kia,
That's excellent.
and a very good roll from Bifrost. So,
He is awesome, though.
Rick, Evelyn, Kia, and Bifrost, you all hear this. You all hear Kuai suddenly scream and Eira just bolts towards where she heard the scream. She bolts, and you arrive as Eira has rushed to Kuai's side as she is laying unconscious on the ground, and she's cradling Kuai's head when suddenly a man wearing a top hat in his circus uniform shows up. It just suddenly appears, and he says, "Ah, looks like the poor girl took a spill." And Iris suddenly just fires off an icicle at him, which misses. And she says, "What did you do?" Xulgoth motions to himself. "Me? I wasn't even here. Where were you?" Not very chivalrous, is it, to leave your fair love all by yourself?
Bifrost is going to sidle up to both Frederick and Kia and say, "That is Xulgoth."
So this is what you mean by an illusory person.
It is possible.
Oh,
I have not
okay,
touched
so
him yet.
Rick, go ahead and make a perception check. Kia can make a perception check as well. And Kia doesn't notice this, but Rick, you notice that it doesn't appear as though Xulgoth is physically here. It does appear as though this is an illusory person. In a real sense. Oh, it looks like we have the whole party. How wonderful!
So you did anticipate us then?
Oh, I did indeed. I was hoping to see you all here, and you did not disappoint.
And yet, you don't even show up yourself. You've got no manners, do you?
You're one to talk, bird.
And what about it? Does my beak look nice?
I believe that was intended to be an insult. Xulgoth is notoriously prejudiced against those who are not of his species.
Can't imagine too many people are worried what Clown Shoes over there thinks about them.
Oh, and a pointy hair freak, too.
You wound me. Now, do you have any actual points, or are you just here to ramble on for a while?
It's a 50-50, I'd say.
Maybe a little both. And Eira is shaking. She's shaking Kuai gently. She's like, "Wake up! Wake up!"
Can I do a medicine check and see if I know what's going on with her?
Sure. You'll have to move closer to her.
Oh, I absolutely happily will.
And as you do that, Xulgoth it disappears and he reappears over in a corner. This is like the Almanin history exhibit area, and he now reappears with his arm wrapped around a mummy in the corner. So, my friend, have you met my other friends? Oh yes, yes indeed. They do look weird.
Did you know that person?
I don't know. Maybe I did.
So I'll kneel and take a look at Kuai and see if I can see any specific things, if it's a fall versus some other incapacitation.
you think it might be some kind of other incapacitation. You're not entirely sure, but it seems magical in nature.
Well, despite your claim that she must have taken a spill, there is some action that's been done here. Would you care to explain?
Who, me? Or are you talking about my friend here?
I was talking to you, yes.
Be honest to yourself, Xulgoth. You don't have any friends.
Oh, I'm wounded.
That's what I said. Looks like you don't even have your own material.
Oh,
Come on,
did
still
you?
need a member of your own cult.
Did you know I have another friend here? Yeah, he's upstairs. You might have met him.
Yeah, sure. I know your girlfriend goes to another school.
Was it the person that was with us before?
Have you heard of a Xulgoth?
That is the individual that was here before. Yeah,
Make me
creature.
make me either an occultism or mythos check.
Occultism, no hesitation.
Evelyn rolls 36. Bifrost rolls 27. We have a 23 from Kia. And we have a 16 from Rick. Rick doesn't know. But Rick doesn't know what it won't hurt him, I guess. You believe. In fact, I actually have a picture of that. Give me a moment.
Don't show it to me. I don't want to have to roll another will save.
He doesn't want to have to roll another will save.
As long as I've got focus points, I don't mind the will save. Empty inside is a pretty neat thing to have. Well, not for the character, just mechanic.
I am searching. I have it here somewhere. That's probably not it.
No, but it's fun.
You've got the official picture, so yeah. I won't post other ones.
Yeah, I have it here somewhere. I swear I have it here somewhere.
I know you have the document.
This picture, this book is hard to navigate. This book is hard to navigate. Okay, I've been looking at the wrong place. Meanwhile, you could roleplay amongst yourselves while I search.
So, a lovely introduction. That's who he is. Not the best in most, I'd say. Not the most. He doesn't exactly have a lot of manners, but
The creature was here when we first came after the disappearance of a professor who was doing investigation here. The creature had caused some issues as we first investigated, but it appeared to depart. Apparently it was not as... it has not abandoned this museum as much as we had hoped.
That's the picture. It's a big amorphous blob. It was a proto-Xulgoth when you first encountered it. It might have grown by now.
Yes, it does appear to be grown, if that's the new version.
Here's another one.
This is of deep concern. What is your ploy, unleashing this thing here?
Me?
Come
Did
now.
you ever think that maybe it was my masters who unleashed it here?
Let's be frank, because the ploy of ignorance does not become you. You drew us here for what purpose?
He continues to chat with his friend the mummy. The robot seems awfully rude today.
Once again, you're one to talk.
You might want to see to the girl. She doesn't look very well.
No, she definitely does not look well. She appears to have been impacted by some kind of more than a physical a problem.
Iris just suddenly screams out, "We have to get her out of here now!"
Understood. And
Everyone
everyone
covers their beak, and I'm gonna cast message on Bifrost, and I'm gonna say, I can keep him distracted. Just take her out.
So Bifrost is going to pick up Kuai and begin to walk, unfortunately at my slow pace, toward the exit.
And what is Kia and Rick going to do?
I will stick around for the time being.
Help Evelyn with her distraction?
Continue observing and taking notes about Evelyn's interactions.
Okay.
And meanwhile, I'll use Extort the Faithful on him.
Okay.
Try and quote-unquote diplomacy a bit of info here.
Okay.
You know, Xulgoth, for someone who is as... well, someone who claims, at least, to be a worshipper of deity of chaos, you seem like quite the predictable sort. So...
He's ignoring you and continuing to chat with his friend the mummy.
No, she's fine with that. She's fine with that. One way or another, you know.
And
He's
Kia,
paying attention to something.
Kia, what are you doing?
Gonna help get Eira out.
Get Kuai out. You're going to help get Kuai out.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So Kia and Bifrost have gone with Eira, and with Bifrost carrying Kuai to get Kuai out of the museum, and Rick is here just continuing to observe Evelyn's interactions with Xulgoth, and continuing to watch how Xulgoth is continuing to ignore and just chat with his friend the mummy.
Eventually, she starts chatting with him on. You know, I don't really like your acquaintances, Mr. Well, I don't really like your acquaintances, Mommy. Though, I will say, you seem to be not the most responsive kind, and my curiosity draws me to want to know what is his interest. And hey, perhaps my early judgment of you could be mistaken.
Xulgoth says,
Isn't that right, Xulgoth?
"Oh, I'm sorry. He's a little wrapped up at the moment." Bifrost carries Kuai in his inner pair of arms and holds Eira's hand with a third, leaving the fourth to hold his shield.
Hearing that pun, everyone gives the most, like, clearly sarcastic slow clap.
Rick can be seen noting a few more things in his notebook.
Yep.
I wonder what
First
Rick is saying. What is Rick noting down there?
First, you refuse to even show up, and second, you ignore someone who's clearly trying to talk to you. Each day, you disappoint me more.
It takes one to know one.
Oh, now you're saying I don't have manners. Well, at least I've been trying. Can't say the same about you, can I?
A glimpse into Rick's notebook reveals the latest entry. Wayfinder seemed to express antagonism towards Xulgoth during his first appearance at the museum, exchanging witty jabs in stride. They clearly know each other.
It's not inaccurate.
It is true.
It is true. So, you, Kia Bifrost, you eventually get Kuai and Eira back to the Wayfinder Society Grand Hall.
That's not where I was going. My goal was to go directly to the to take her directly to the church, the Grand Cathedral, where there are people of faith to do healing. The hall, they'll just have to send people to go get that. I'm taking them directly there.
Okay. Well, Eira looks at Kuai as she's laying there, and the priests are having a difficult time ascertaining exactly what this is. And she says, "I'm going to have to call my mother. Luna may be the only one who knows anything about this."
It is possible. She has knowledge and expertise that could very well save Kuai. We will do our best.
Can I borrow the comstone?
Bifrost doesn't even hesitate, gives her the comstone.
I'll go call her. I don't know how this conversation is going to go.
I wish I could go with you as well.
And Kia, what do you say? Do you do anything?
Just there as I make sure she's stable enough.
Okay.
I'm gonna try something, I think.
Okay.
This all got.
So, back at the museum with Rick and Evelyn and Xulgoth and his friend the mummy.
Say, from what I remember, you like games and unpredictability, correct?
Oh, I love games. Haven't we been playing a game?
Not yet, but would you like to?
Oh boy!
I have. Yes.
My favorite! Baby, my friend the mummy would like to play. Would you like to play?
No, no, I have not invited him. So, here is the deal. I'll create 3 illusions, and 1 real me. You can try to take a stab at any of them. If you miss, you may give me a bit of information on, well, what the condition that you dealt to that woman is. And if you hit, well, I'm sure you'll be pleased to be able to stab me right in the chest, right?
Oh, it sounds
No.
fun! It sounds
I
so
know.
much fun!
I know. Don't you dare lie. After all, it's not like there's if you're gonna lie anyways, what's the point of adhering to chaos? After all, there would be no stakes. It would just be predictability, wouldn't it? I'm sure Cthulhu wouldn't exactly be happy about it.
Chaos is life. You know this just as well as I do, Evelyn.
In fact, I do, though we seem to have differing ideas of it. And I'm gonna cast mirror image and just wait. Oh, before you do, no spell casting, nothing that would let you see which one is the real one. Only a slice with a single, any non-magical melee that you may have on you, which I'm sure that you have one lying around. And if not, well, you can use mine.
Okay. So, back at the church, Crystal arrives after about 5 minutes or so. Crystal arrives, and apparently apparently Eira called her first. And she rushes over to Kuai's side. She says, "This seems like dark magic. I have no idea how this works at all."
May have been the work of a Xulgoth. We're investigating that. Xulgoth appears to have staged this to draw us in.
Wouldn't surprise me. But I'm afraid this is beyond my ability.
I am attempting to discern what we can. It appears that a simple removal of curse is not enough.
So, back with Evelyn and Rick. Evelyn, he goes and takes a stab at one of your mirror images, and I'm going to have you roll in the tower. No. I'm going to have you choose a random number between 1 and 3. And don't tell me anything yet. Don't tell me yet. You're going to have a random number between 1 and 3 in your head, and if I'm going to roll a d4, and if it lands on that number, then he hits you. If it doesn't, then he misses. Sound good?
Right, I'm gonna keep it tight.
Okay.
Isn't it?
I was gonna say,
Should it be between 1 and 4 for cast a mirror image?
And he misses.
it should have been, but Xulgoth apparently had a guaranteed miss if he rolled a 4.
Okay.
And she bows. Well played.
Well played yourself. Now, what would you like to know?
Well, a way to remove, well, at least a possible way to remove that woman's condition. Or, well, even a hint would already satisfy me, I suppose. Can't expect a lot from you.
Okay. Your hint is neither here nor there. Maybe it's at my home. Maybe it's elsewhere. Do keep in mind that all of the planes are closer together than you realize. And back with Bifrost and Kia at the church with Crystal, Luna soon arrives, and as you know, that Luna is Eira's mother. And Luna, as she arrives, she throws Crystal a very curt look as she rushes to Kuai's side, and she says some reassuring words to Eira and asks her to help her. She directs her to go get her a bowl of cold water. And whenever Crystal tries to say anything, Luna just ignores her. And she turns to you. Luna turns to you, Kia and Bifrost, and she says, Xulgoth is a madman, but he's predictable in his chaotic movements. I can tell you exactly where he'll be. You will need to go there and find the focus for this curse and destroy it. He's probably rigged the place with traps and is probably expecting you. He probably expects me to be there. Go. Now. She doesn't have much time. Eira and I will do what we can here to stave off this curse.
Understood.
And she gives you a slip of paper and with directions to get to where she believes Xulgoth's real body is, not his illusionary bodies.
Understood.
She warns you, he can be in more than one place at the same time. He can be in multiple places at the same time.
Okay. But not physically, correct?
But not physically.
So if we can find his body, then we have an opportunity.
Yes.
Understood. Alright. Then we must move quickly.
And you must go retrieve Evelyn and Rick, obviously.
Yes. I'm gonna take Kia with me, and as we're leaving, I'm gonna discuss with Kia. I can send a message to them at a distance, but I don't think that we want to give Xulgoth the idea that we know exactly where he is right away. Do you have any wisdom?
Do they have any of those comstones on them?
Yes.
Yeah. I'd say we just say to...
Yes, Evelyn would have one probably.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I think I just left mine with Ira.
Yeah.
So I assume Kia would have one though too.
Yeah. I'd suggest we just let them know to come meet us, somewhere, and there's no reason to. Like this seems that this is presumably his plan. So he knows we're going to be going there, and he'll already set up his traps or whatever he's going to.
So subtlety is not necessary at this point.
I wouldn't have thought so. I don't think we know anything that he doesn't want us to know.
Okay. Then perhaps you should make the call, and we will meet them near here and then go directly there. I assume that the address we have is in Calrun.
It is in Almana. And
Oh.
it is actually the palace where you were in the Convergence episode.
Oh, yes. Yes, that's a fun place. I know this. I say to Kia, this place is, complicated. It is dangerous. We will need to be prepared. We should go quickly, though. We got transported there last time, right?
Yeah.
This time we'll need to get our own transportation.
Yeah.
We'll need the airship.
Yeah, Luna has provided you directions to get there.
So, after you contact Evelyn and let her know, we will need to get ourselves to an airship port, and we'll have to call Rune to get us there.
Yes.
Okay, so we start heading towards the airship port.
And
let the other two know.
As you're leaving, Luna says, "I am going to keep Eira here with me, if that is all right with you."
It's really about whether it's all right with her, but I think that would be wise. Please let us know if there's anything else we need to do.
I will.
It is... Your daughter needs you. And perhaps this is a time that you can create a bridge.
I hope. And at that point, she turns to Crystal and she directs her to go speak in private. And you over here, Luna just unleash on Crystal, and she says, "I told you, I warned you, keep my daughter out of this. Xulgoth is more dangerous than you possibly know. Since I last helped you, he probably did this to get to me now. Because he knew you couldn't resist putting her in the middle of this. This is your fault. I hope you're happy." But Crystal fires back at her and it says, "Eira is extremely willful and will do whatever the Undergrave she wants. Which you would know if you were involved in her life at all." It's a bit of an argument going on there. As you are heading out to meet up with Rick and Evelyn. And Evelyn, any last words you want to share with Xulgoth's illusion?
Well, I suppose it was, and she makes like very like she makes quotation marks with her hands, nice playing games with you, though. Fortunately, I have more important matters to attend to. I'll see you then. And she just like swipes at the illusion with her sword cane.
Yeah, you swipe at his illusion and make me an attack check, a melee attack check.
Right. Let me go in actions. Oh, there.
You hit, and you realize this may be an illusion, but it's solid. That hurt. Or it tickled.
Oh.
One of the two.
Oh, I suppose I at least expected you to protect yourself a bit more, but it's good to know you're always going on new lows. As I said, see you then.
I'll see you
And she
soon.
walked off.
Meanwhile, I'll continue this illusionary, this enlightening conversation with my friend the Money.
He's like, by the time he's saying that, she's already passed like the door to the museum and is not hearing anything.
And Rick.
What'd you say, Cyber? This has been quite an illuminating conversation.
Oh, indeed.
Thank you. And I'll turn to follow Evelyn.
Shaking your head as you wonder why the hell is he making friends with the mummy?
I just imagine him like yelling from the other side of the museum, like, "No, yeah, it's fine. You can leave. I'm just gonna talk to my friend here, the mum. It's fine. I don't like you anyway."
That's exactly what he does. That is exactly what he does. So, you head out and meet up with Bifrost and Kia. And you find your way to the outside gates. There's no actual airship port here in Kalrun, so Rune had to land just outside the city.
So when they meet with us there, we will share everything that we saw, everything that happened, and let them know that we must return to the palace where we had our confrontation most recently with Xulgoth, and that most likely we can't count on anything in the interior to be the same. Traps will be set. He's drawing us in. This is a game for him again, but the danger is this is Kuai's life.
Indeed.
Where exactly are we headed?
I'll show Frederick the location and then fill Frederick in on in detail as we get onto the airship about our issue with Xulgoth most recently, how he had kidnapped many people of significance and importance throughout Amina and held their lives at ransom, used, parasitic beings to control some of them, killed some of them with impunity, summoned a kaiju, and attempted to destroy the world.
That about sums it up.
I'm sure that Rick knew some of this, because it's kind of hard to hide a kaiju. And
a little hard, yeah.
I do believe there was a report that came by at one point.
Yes, yes, there was.
Yeah. So he's not totally stunned, but caught a little off guard at the frank honesty.
And meanwhile, I'm going to do a cutscene here as we cutscene to a conversation that Eira is having with her mother, and she gets to talking to Luna about the last conversation that she had with Kuai, feeling guilty, and Luna asks her, "What exactly did Kuai say?" And when Eira tells her, she smiles and says, "Eira, my dear, you are so much more like your father than you know. You hear her words, but you do not understand them. She wasn't talking about the argument, honey." And Eira looks confused. "Honey, she was talking about the relationship. Tell me, have you yet told her that you love her?" And Eira shakes her head and says, "Honestly, I haven't thought about that. I thought we were good, but I guess I was wrong." And back to you. As you pile onto the airship, and the Brune takes off. The airship takes off up into the air and flies at very high speed. All of you need to roll reflex saves. Because Rude is speeding. And Rick is probably concerned that she's breaking some some sort of speeding laws or something.
Oh, I fall.
Yeah, Rick falls, Bifrost falls, Kia, Evelyn. Reflex saves.
Huh? Reflex save?
Yes.
Yep.
Alright.
Evelyn falls.
If that's a crit fail, I'm reroll.
That is not a crit fail. Kia is good. So Rick, Bifrost, and Evelyn all fall. And you head off at high speed towards the palace. And Rick, do you talk to Rude at all about the speeding laws?
I suppose I would have to put in at least a word about that.
Possibly.
So yes, I will take the time to explain just once over that there are rules about how one should be operating this kind of air vehicle in the airspace around here. And you're not following like 6 of them.
You're not following like 6 of them. Does Kia say anything?
Among them, ensuring that your passengers are properly secured before departing.
Rick, you can have a story point. And meanwhile, back with Luna and Eira and Kuai. Luna says, Eira, your father waited forever before he said it to me. But it is an important step in every relationship. Kuai just wants to know how you really feel. And more importantly, where this relationship is going. That's what she was saying, in her own way. Kuai, I've observed, has her own unique language. It's your job to learn it, and moreover, understand it. If I ever leave you with any more lessons as your mother, let it be that. And back with you guys.
I'm working on my report. Don't mind me.
You finally land at the castle. And this castle doesn't look like normal. It doesn't look like the usual architecture that you are used to in Almana. It is big. It is imposing, and it kind of looks like more like one of those medieval castles from Europe. You know, castles here in Almana tend to follow more like Egyptian or that part of the world. That's the normal architecture you're used to here. But this is very different from Almanan architecture.
It's
Is
so
there a
much
specific
more.
place this is from?
What was that?
So much more.
Is there a specific place this type of architecture is from?
It's similar to Atlantia. And maybe a little bit of Highwind.
It's so much more intimidating in person. The reports didn't do it justice.
So
Yes, it is. It is a large location and a bit capricious on the interior. You'll see what I mean.
a bit capricious in the interior. That's one way to put it. So, Bifrost, the last time you were here, you remember seeing a lot of guards at the gates. There are none this time around.
Were they Magi guards when we saw them last time?
They looked like they were dressed like Magi Guard officers, but you could tell they were cultists.
Okay, so it was just deception. No guards present. Is there a point in going to one of the other entrances, or should we just go straight in?
Preference.
Is there a place that you usually went when you were arriving, or was this the location?
Do I roll anything for that?
Sure, roll occultism.
Yes!
It has been a while.
Or maybe one of your lore skills. Yeah,
No,
actually,
don't worry,
Occultism is fine.
occultism is fine,
Occultism
okay.
is fine.
Yeah, it's Scions of the Void. Your Scions of the Void lore skill would have fit quite well too.
Don't worry, I'm fine with using occultism.
With the critical success, sure, absolutely.
I just pull out an entire blueprint of the cap.
And
Oh, hey,
I should clear the combat tracker. Oops.
Hopefully that's not implying anything.
Nope. I need to just add all of you to the combat tracker.
Again,
I
not
feel
applying
like
anything.
that's implying something.
No, I'm sure it's safe. It's fine.
It's fine. I just need to add you all to the combat tracker.
Yeah, we just need to roll a quick initiative and
No.
and everyone make fortitude, reflex, and will saves with a -10 penalty.
You
It's a
don't
good thing
need
that
to
that
roll
doesn't
initiative.
count for anything.
You don't need to roll initiative.
No, but I'm proud of my plus 18 bonus.
And a 1 on the die.
I'm less proud of that. Look at the bonus.
He's less proud of that. Well, you are a fighter.
Outer proficiency moment.
Yeah, fighters probably have a pretty good proficiency in perception. Yeah, he's a master. He's a master in perception.
And I also get a +2 bonus if I'm rolling perception for initiative. So...
Oh dear. Alright.
It's a fighter thing.
So Evelyn pulls out this entire blueprint blueprint of the castle, and it says, "I forgot I had this."
I remember back when I was sent here to I actually had this kind of in handy because otherwise my memory is not exactly the best, but it's convenient. And if anything, well, I could try impersonating.
So, Evelyn shows you the best route to getting into the castle.
Excellent. It's time to move then.
No time to waste.
Alright, what's the best way into the castle?
She directs you to actually around the perimeter wall and towards this cliff overhang. You come up towards this cliff overhang on the right hand side, with the palace on the left hand side, and she directs you to up this path that leads directly up to the castle. And she says this area is less guarded. You suppose he doesn't really expect people to come up from the cliff or something?
Well, we did have the one entrance that was at the cliffs. But we don't know where in the castle he is.
Yeah, as you pass by the cliff overhang, you notice that the ritual site is still there. With the altar in the middle. And the altar has some strange markings on it that you can't quite see from here.
New markings?
No. Same ones.
Okay.
But they're ones that Rick and Kia haven't seen.
I'm not too concerned about it. I feel confident it was in the reports from back in the day.
Yeah.
Most likely that report was cribbed off of the very thorough explanation I gave to anyone that asked.
Yeah, Bifrost likes to give very, very thorough explanations.
Rick has noticed.
And Kia, anything to say?
Not so much at the moment.
Okay. So you head into the castle through what appears to be the back door. As you head into the castle, what you notice off the bat is all of the torch lights that line the hallways. They're all out. They're all snuffed out. Doesn't appear as it really doesn't appear as though anyone's home.
Okay.
And I'm just noting off. I'm just noting right now that the weather outside is very clear. It's a very clear night. It is night by this point.
Okay.
Just in case.
No,
Rick
it is
takes a
wise.
steel shield off his back and has it in hand now. I'm sure Bifrost is doing the same.
Yes, Bifrost is prepared. My shield, and I do not have my nunchucks out. I am, however, I do have a journal out, and I'm writing, and my spare hand is ready to do some kind of invocation if necessary.
Alright.
Okay, so I'm gonna keep the sword cannon sheath, and to keep a free hand, I'll just take out the grimoire that I did a whole ritual to make it sentient, so just floating around me, no need to hold it.
Okay.
And I'll have that.
Alrighty.
I didn't mean to make everyone else nervous.
Is Kia going to prepare herself?
Yeah, she'll draw her blades.
So everyone is prepared for a fight.
It almost feels too quiet.
Indeed, it is awfully quiet in here. It is awfully quiet in here, considering who you know Xulgoth to be. As you continue through the hallways, you soon come upon the grand ballroom that Evelyn and Bifrost you remember very well. This is where the party, or the so-called party, was being held. And make me a perception check. $26, $28. A critical success.
I see everything!
And a 27. So all of you notice what looks like a stain in the red carpet under your feet. But Rick, what you notice specifically is that it seems like an acid burn stain.
I will share that with the class.
And Bifrost, you will remember that one of your comrades, one of your party mates, Felix, he had a bit of a direct confrontation with Xulgoth. And you think
This is true.
You think this is the remnant of that.
Okay.
And suddenly you hear a voice that seems to be echoing throughout the castle. And it's Xulgoth's voice. And he says, "Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you to today's games. As you see on the floor before you, you see a Acid Bernstein. I think I had a little bit of run-in with one of your friends. Oh, I hope he's doing okay. I haven't seen him in a while.
I haven't seen him either.
I am sorry,
I'm
I
sure
can't.
that you care a lot.
I am sorry, I cannot hear you.
That's unfortunate. I was just about to talk about all of the plans that we have, all of the stuff that you don't know. But well, what can you do about it? Sometimes, ranges is a fact.
As you look around the ballroom before you, you will find some things on the floor I haven't quite cleaned up. I'm sorry. I wasn't expecting you.
To be honest, I wasn't expecting you so soon myself.
Wonder if he's actually here this time. Likely not, by the way.
I only just got appointed to this job.
Oh, appointments come and go. You know how it is.
Well, he did hear that word. So what is the game you intend to play?
Why don't you continue to explore my humble abode and find out?
Please say it's hide and seek.
Oh, hide and seek sounds so much fun!
Okay, but remember, there is no safe here, so you'll just need to stay where you're hidden until we find you.
I'm sorry.
I could start counting if you'd like.
He already had a head start. Let's just get going.
1, 2.
And she's counting.
Yep.
And she counts all the way to 10 as she continues walking around. As she continues walking around. I mean, as long as the eyes are closed, right?
All right. So
Okay,
yes,
that's cheating.
The fact that she's blind. But she sees in her own way.
yes, reasonably too. When we were here
Yeah,
last
my perceptions
time,
have been.
most of the places that were actual rooms were up. We found a child's room, we found a library, all off of something of a maze.
Oh, do be aware that some of the hallways and rooms may have changed. I'm sorry, this place has a mind of its own.
I'm not surprised that there's some whimsy here.
I suppose I haven't visited in a while. Have you been keeping maintenance?
I'm sorry, I can't quite hear you.
But you can't hear that I'm talking.
I could see that you were saying something, bird.
And yet you replied to me.
I'm sorry.
You're right, he is pretty dumb.
See?
All right, so this way, and Bifrost will operate under the idea that the layout is similar to what they faced last time, and until such a time as it's clear that's not true. And try to head upwards.
Okay. As you try to head upwards, suddenly the stairs before you it moves around. It starts moving around in a circle and then goes down. And this staircase that went up is now going down. Like I said, it has a mind of its own.
As we try to traverse the stairs.
Yes, as you try to traverse the stairs, it moves. And that is where I'm going to end today's session.
Alright.
I want to thank everyone for joining us for this exciting episode, A Mother's Love. We will be back in 2 weeks for the next part. On August 13th, I do believe. Let me double check that. Yes,
Yeah, that will
August
be 2
13th.
weeks from now.
August 13th. The next part of A Mother's Love will be on August 13th. And I want to remind everyone, if you want to learn more about Mystimon Saga, you can check out the link in the description below.